and welcome to Sport Tonight. I'm Cecilia Mogbe in the Lagos.
Sporty greetings to you wherever you are in the world watching us in London. I'm Austin Okonapan Cecilia, always an action-packed world of sports.
Yes, and today is a loaded package because we'll be taking a look at the National Youth Games. While Lagos had their best performance so far in all the editions we'll be having, and of course how they managed to come second, what Lagos is doing differently. If other states will have to imbibe what they're doing differently to actually try and catch up with them. And also Team Delta, who, for the last editions, they've been winners of that National Youth Games. Also, we'll take a look at MPFL games that were played over the weekend. This shocker, especially having Remo Stars, Eyimba, those teams that actually went away from home to win. Rivers United, of course, also went away from home to win. And we will leave the CAF. We will not leave the CAF Champions League because it's so representative from Nigeria. The champions of the Nigeria Premier Football League, Enugu Rangers, they are out. It was just tragedy waiting to happen because of how they played the first leg. We'll be talking about the CAF Champions League and also the CAF Confederations Cup. And what is going to get our attention, Lagos State FA, that's the Football Association, is doing something no other football association has done, not even the Nigeria Football Federation. Yes, we'll talk about them on the show tonight. And also, yes, we'll talk about Ter Stegen. Now, the goalkeeper of Barcelona is out for the rest of the season. Coaches have been complaining about overload of players. Now, injuries are happening everywhere. And you'll be hearing from Hansen Flick on the show tonight. Updates on how they want to go about the remainder of the season with their first choice goalkeeper actually out for the rest of the season. It's a loaded package, as I mentioned earlier. Yes, so much to talk about. And I mentioned that we'll be talking about the youth games, the Lagos FA, and maybe touch on the Super Eagles coaching job. There's someone in the studio that will be doing justice to that for us in the first 15 minutes of this program. I'm talking about Waidi Akanni, former player. He's right here in the studio. So he's with us to actually, throw more light on some of the things I mentioned earlier. It's great to have you join us tonight on the program.
Nice to be here with you, Cecilia. We always meet around all sporting activities, and it's good to be here in the studio with you.
Thank you for coming. Yeah, Austin, of course, we're going to be talking about grassroots football. I know that's what you love to talk about. But yes, we are going to be starting off with the National Youth Games. This year's edition, of course, it was something we all love because of how it was organized compared to the previous ones. And we saw some of these kids, young athletes, not just the 18 years old we've been seeing, but we see young athletes from 12, 11, 13, real under 15. Most of the states, that's what we saw. Now, you're right here in the studio. We've been talking about the fact that, the best way to actually, groom future leaders or future champions is actually to catch them young. How did Lagos actually achieve that, having those kids from different schools across the state attending the National Youth Games?
Well, to be honest with you, sports always have its pathway, and the pathway is very simple. You have to start at a younger age. And once you start at a younger age, you develop your passion, and then that builds into becoming a champion. And I think that's what Lagos did. Going to the National Youth Games, they surpassed their previous, showing. They won a lot of gold medals, silver, and then, of course, in every sport, football, basketball, all those sports, they won a lot of medals. And how did they do it? By going really, really grassroots. Picking 11, 12, 13-year-old boys and girls. And that's what you need to do. Giving them, environment to play, environment to train, and that's what Lagos has done. And everybody just has to learn from Lagos.
Everyone has to learn from Lagos. Austin, it was an impressive performance for them, right? We saw the medals. They won 26 gold medals, 20 silver, 19 bronze medals, finishing second. The last edition, they won 21 gold, 19 silver, and 21 bronze medals. So that's a plus for them. And in football, of course, the girls won the gold. And you go to boxing, it was a clean sweep for them. You go to swimming, and you go to even hockey. The dominance was there. Now, that's the football, the girls celebrating their victory. Also, I know you have one or two questions for him concerning the youth games.
Yeah, when Waidi landed with everyone needs to learn from Lagos, I was like, are you sure? Delta, Waidi Akanni, Delta will look at you and say, what is he talking about? But I understand what you mean by that statement, and kudos to people like you who are trying to do what you can to develop sports at the grassroots. I know you've been busy lately, but let's talk about the place of community football development. That's part of what we are seeing in action at the National Youth Games. What have you been up to lately in Lagos, and what is Lagos doing to keep community football alive?
Well, thank you, Austin. To start with, Lagos gives you this platform to actually, do a lot of things when it comes to sport. We have a championship going on now that the finals will come up on Thursday at Onikon Stadium. It's called 1X Cup. And what do we mean by 1X Cup? We go all around Lagos, and then building communities to come and play that championship. The 1X Cup brings in people together. We've seen a lot of young players play that championship, and to start with, we had almost about 160 teams that took part initially, and all along we had court till we got to the finals. And of course, like I said earlier, the finals comes up on Thursday at Onikon Stadium. The point I'm making is that grassroots is the way you go. It brings cohesion, brings unity, brings a lot of people together. And of course, economically also, when you do grassroots sports, you're bringing in people that, that will economically benefit from whatever you're doing. And that's what we've been up to in Lagos on one side. And of course, the National Youth Game as well, like we discussed earlier, they've done very well. So 1X Cup is what is going on in Lagos now as we speak. And everybody's just waiting to see who wins the trophy come on Thursday.
Awesome. Let me still stay with this, the 1X Cup. I remember we talked about it last year. I like the fact that it has continued. 160 teams. That's laudable. But I'm after this is all done, what's next? How do you keep tabs with the talents that are discovered from this 1X Cup?
Okay, thank you, Austin, again. What we've done this year, basically, is also to stream the games live. So that, everybody watches all over the world. And I can tell you for sure that along the line, one or two of these players have been scouted, gone abroad, to develop themselves better. And of course, that's another benefit that we always get when we come around with 1X Cup. It was done last year. We went around Lagos, and then this year, we actually turned it to some kind of a league where we were stationed at Legacy Pitch for about 7 weeks, and then teams played among each other, quarterfinals, we're now semifinals and finals. So the point I'm making is that we will get something out of this kind of championship when you repeat them every year. And of course, there's also a pathway that I love, the mentorship part, where you bring in the ex-international. For every game they play, you've got people, ex-players like Victor Agali, Henry Wusu, they come around, Fatayama, they come around and speak to these boys. They speak to these young guys, and they tell them exactly what they need to do to be themselves, to be better for themselves, and of course, take it seriously when you choose football as a career.
That's an interesting aspect, especially when you talk about mentorship, because we understand that not everyone will play professional football. And sometimes along the way, some of them may not even make it, because it's hard. And when they don't make it, there's this thing that comes in, some depression and some other stuff and everything.
It's natural when you don't make it. Well, something you choose as a career and then you fall off. But of course, it's always difficult to pick it up, and that's where the mentorship comes in. You have to prepare, you have to plan, just in case this does not happen. What do you do? And that's what that does for all those boys that are playing this our championship.
So what are we expecting on the final day on Thursday?
Well, again, let me just go back a little bit. We had a team called Gunners Link. This is a team from Aguda here. They just picked themselves up, and of course, playing against FC Bethel. The thing is, we will see grassroots football at its best. Everybody always thinks FC Bethel has got the best team right from day one, but I think Gunners FC might have a surprise for them. These are boys just picked up from the neighborhood. So it's going to be a very tough game come Thursday at Onikon Stadium, FC Bethel versus Gunners Link. And I think a lot of people want to come and watch. And that's the reason why we're saying grassroots football, and that's what 1X Cup has brought to limelight.
Yeah, I'm happy about this particular development. Of course, it's the second edition, and I hope it's going to continue for a long time, right?
I hope so. so too. Like I said earlier, we want to make it some kind of a league that everybody plays in every year in, year out. And then, of course, the benefits is enormous.
It's enormous, really. Okay, now let's talk about the Lagos FA. I mentioned something about what I've seen. I don't know. I was waiting for you to actually correct me there. I don't know if there's any football federation, any state football or federation in Nigeria that have ever, at the beginning of the season, they release a budget, transparency, integrity, and just tell you, these are programs for the year. We have 19 programs, and we are budgeting 3.6 billion for this. And this is the breakdown of everything. I mean, one of it I'm actually happy about is the Lagos International Cup that they said it's going to go up the sum of 1 billion naira. Clubs from Europe and North Africa and everything will be there. So take us through what Lagos State did at the Congress on Saturday.
It was the annual general meeting. I was actually also there. I mean, kudos to the FA, to be honest with you. The Gaffarly Amid FA that is on board now, on ground rather, they are doing very well. For them to have come up with those kind of programs that has never been done before. I mean, remember, I was also an FA chairman.
Yeah,
we never
had that. You didn't do that.
We didn't do that, I mean, but things have changed now. They've lined up about 19 different programs. They have their budget. Everybody can see it. I mean, they're showing transparency. That's also another good part to what Lagos FA is doing now. And they need our support. For example, they've got female tournaments as well. They've got the young tournaments, the young boys and girls tournament. They've got everything, and they come out in the open to let you know that this is what we will do for the year. I mean, 3.6 billion, you think is a lot of money? Of course it's not. So, I mean, I hope they can get to that. They can get sponsors in. And again, kudos to the Gaffarly Amid FA and then all the board members. There's unity. And then again, what they have also done is to open up grassroots for everybody. Everybody comes in with their programs and they give you permission to go play. And that's another good thing the FA has done so far.
Interesting. I love that open. I know Austin is jumping on the beat to come in here. Austin.
I'll get to the Super Eagles, but let me just take this question that someone is asking on X. Waidi saying, how do you choose the teams or communities for the 1X Cup?
Well, basically what we did was to actually, release the timetable, on social media, newspapers, and then ask people to come in and, you fill out a form. It was actually also free. I mean, things that don't happen during nowadays are happening now. You get sponsors. People say, let them just play for free. So what we did, Austin, to answer your question was that we threw it out in the media. You can do it. They registered online. They call up us to register. And then we had a lot of teams register. Of course, we now had, criteria whereby we use in selecting the players. But basically, it must be community-based. And that is the major reason why some teams they didn't get a chance to be part of that tournament.
Awesome. I love it because right here in England, most of the teams are community-based teams. And I think that's the way we should start going in Nigeria. Let's talk about the Super Eagles. You're an ex-player. When you look at the Super Eagles now, Waidi Akanni, do you shake your head? Do you have your hands on your cheek? Or do you just go, it is well?
Well, I think, Austin, my take on Super Eagles right now is that I think they've gotten back the rhythm. They've gotten back the confidence. They believe in the current coach. They believe, when players gel with the coach, then the thing you get is the best result, good results. And that's what I think they've done. Austin, probably people will ask you and say, oh, he didn't do well in the past. But I always tell them, when you fail a class, what do? You repeat that class. And then once he's repeating and he's doing very well now, I think, kudos to Austin Eguavon, kudos to the whole technical team, and of course the federation, for them to have actually think about bringing in local coaches to also support him. I think that's also a very good one. I mean, so far, they played 2 matches. We will not say they've gotten to the height where people think they are back again, but they brought in confidence. They brought in, unity among the players, and that's very key. When players are united together, you will get a lot of results.
Okay, let me quickly ask you this before we let you go. What's the difference between what they played under Finidi George? Yes, I know that we didn't have full complement of the players. We can establish that. And what they played under Austin Eguavon?
I think it's just believing in the coach, and then having confidence that this guy can actually let us do what we want to do. Players have a way of reacting to coaches. I'm not sure how Finidi handled it, but to be honest with you, I think this current Super Eagles now with Austin Eguavon, they've gotten good rhythm. They've gotten good understanding among each other. And, you know, I mean, you can imagine when Osimhen came in. Everybody would have thought Osimhen was going to start that match.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, coming in late, they did the right thing by, you know, letting him come on bench, from the bench. And then, you know, he did well. He even scored a goal. You know, so what I'm saying is when players in a team understand that this coach is fair to everybody, this coach also speaks to everybody. And then, you know, they want their bond. They're bonded together. They want to play for you and play for Nigeria. That's what I think happened.
Should they just make it a permanent coach, or maybe when they get the coach, he should go back to his position as usual?
Well, I think if you ask me that, you know, I don't think we should start looking for any other coach. Okay. I think Eguavon Cerezo should just continue till we get, you know, to the end of the tunnel. And where are we going to? We need to qualify for the World Cup. And I'm very hopeful that Nigeria will qualify for the World Cup if this same attitude, this same confidence that we saw the last 2 games continue in the Super Eagles.
Waidi, I mean, I would have loved this to go on and on and on, but I want to thank you so much for coming on the show tonight.
My pleasure, Cecilia. I'll see you again.
We need to listen to the DG of Lagos State Football, Lagos State Sports Commission, talking about what the athletes actually, what they did differently for these athletes to medal at the National Youth Games concluded last week.
The future of sports, particularly that is connected to talent development, grassroots sport development, which is actually the focus of National Youth Games, lies with Lagos State. So Lagos State has proven with this, you know, remarkable outing in these National Youth Games that we are actually the set of people to watch out for in the future of National Youth Games. You know, coming with the number of gold medals, particularly I have to make emphasis around the way we have conveniently and confidently swept all the gold medals in boxing. You know, a lot of people, and we also trounced data, I must say that, in basketball. So we are now looking at different areas of our competitive advantage in sports. And I am sure that in the coming years, Lagos State, you know, we come first. We have a special program that is called Stars in Lagos State, sport talent that are redefining success. We see these young people as the future of sports in Lagos State. So we are looking at that from the angle of, you know, sports development around education, what they are doing in school, and what the future lies in terms of, you know, some of them we may want to look at entrepreneurship, how we can connect entrepreneurship with sports. And these are some of the things Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, you know, is doing in terms of deployment of resources to sports to ensure sports talent identification and retention. And we have equally improved in terms of welfare that is provided for these people, and also exchanging handshake with private sector, because we know that government cannot do it alone. So we are rebuilding that trust, and they are actually coming forward. We have a lot of big names now in the corporate world in Lagos State who are actually dedicated to supporting grassroots sport development. So we look into the areas of scholarship, opportunity businesses, and crafts, you know, in sports in general. Those are some of the areas that we want to do to ensure that we retain our talent. And gone are the days where our stars, some states will be coming to poach our stars. We are giving the best of incentives now through the support of Mr. Governor. So we want to come bigger in the coming tournament.
Welcome back. You're listening to the DG Lekan Fatidu talking about the fact that Lagos athletes won't be poached anymore. The reason why most of these states usually poach Lagos athletes is because they are not well paid. Now the welfare is there, and athletes will definitely want to stay. That's according to him. Their best performance so far at the National Youth Games. All right, it's a Tuesday. Kehinde Idris is right here in the studio. Kehinde, how you doing?
Very well, and so happy with the first section or session, whichever way, segment, because I'm a Lagos boy. Aside born, bred here, I'm also an origin of Lagos State. So anything that sounds development, shows development in Lagos really excites me. And the FA is one place that I'm particular about. I'm a sport reporter, so I like everything that has to do with the FA or anything sports. Talking about transparency, growth, and especially what you mentioned last, poaching over the years, National Youth Games,
National Sports Festival
is always a worry. Now, it is not fully the welfareism that they are not well paid. It's the fact that when we want to start the National Sports Festival, states come with very huge amounts, and Lagos State will be like, take them. We have more than enough, and we'll still produce another. But we don't tend to, rate with all others. So now, let us put a proper structure in place. Lagos State should stop training other state athletes for them, and then when time for competition comes, they get to coach them. Anything development, is always welcome. And Austin is a sucker for that. He wants grassroots well developed, and I love it too.